Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us live on YouTube. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium, and I'm my good friend Kevin here with Kevin's Loving Vibrations. He's a very, very talented tarot reader, Reiki master of every variety and level to the max that you can get, and quite psychic in his own right. We're here to answer your political questions. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining me.
Oh, thanks, Susan. I always look forward to our shows together and catching up with your subscribers. It's always a good time. So thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. And that's a really good point. You guys go follow Kevin Loving Vibrations on his YouTube channel, right? You can check out his website as well. It's in the description. I'm sure the moderators will share that information. And if you're new here, please subscribe to my website, my YouTube channel, because we're going to get through this together. We are going to come out the other side of this, believe me. All right.
Yes.
Well, let's the first thing I want to say is that, Kevin and I, if you're not familiar, Kevin and I do this once a month. One month we'll do it on my channel, another month we'll do it on his channel, but we do it regularly and we have for years. And I just want to say that Kevin and I both, and I sure a lot of our wonderful political community called this. We all said the government would shut down before it shut down. We
Mm,
all said it would be an extended shutdown, that it would go several weeks. So far, this prediction is correct. Now, as far as like being 100% correct, nobody is. And as far as timing goes, that's tough, right? That's where we are now, I think. Like, if is where do you, and you just did a live, Kevin just did a live yesterday on his channel, and you guys can go check that out on his channel. Your channel is also Kevin's Loving Vibrations, right?
yep. Kevin's
Yeah,
Loving Vibrations here on YouTube. So
right.
easy to remember.
So it's right in front of you, it's on the screen, right?
It
So
is.
you were saying yesterday, like, what were you saying as far as the shutdown? I think you were getting that it was going to go on a little bit longer.
hmm Well, I will say first off, when I was throwing cards on it before the shutdown, the cards looked like there was going to be some kind of compromise, and I actually got like the resignation card coming in. So I was actually kind of feeling that maybe like Schumer would drop the ball again. So
Right.
I'll own up to it. I wasn't picking up on the shutdown this time, although I had predicted other other government shutdowns when we kind of hit that time. I was thinking I kept on feeling like government shutdown, but at what point, you know? Um, what was the question again? I'm sorry, Susan.
Well, the length of the thing, I want to say this
Morning.
though, I
Yeah.
think you're 100% right, because what you were picking up on was the capitulation probably of the
Mm,
Democrats making a deal, right? And I still think that's going to happen. I
mm,
see us in the end result. We'll talk about the how long the shutdown's going to go,
yeah.
but I feel like the end result is going to be a little disappointing. Like, I
Mhm,
feel like we're going to have to take, and I've said this from the very beginning, right? That we, not us, but our representatives, our senators, are going to work a deal where we do lose ground. You know what I mean? Like, we go backwards a little bit. We're not going to lose everything. We're not going to lose all our HCA, but I feel like we could lose something. So it's
mm,
not the best deal, but it is a deal. So I wonder if that's what you were picking up
yeah.
on when you
I
thought,
felt that compromise coming in, and
yeah,
I'm not feeling a particularly long shutdown. I think the government will probably reopen before the end of this month,
yeah, I do
um,
too.
is what I'm kind of picking up. I was feeling something big in the middle of the month that maybe shift things so it reopens before the end of the month. I do agree that I think there's going to be some people that are a little disappointed, um, because we need a clean house in the Democratic Party too, right? We need those fighters and those that can meet the moment at this time. So in that sense, I do pick up some disappointment. However, I do think all of this pressure with the shutdown will be helpful for those healthcare subsidies that are going to skyrocket. I see them getting something done for that. So it doesn't feel like it's a total lost cause,
Right.
um, but yeah,
Right.
at some point, how long can you keep this going?
Right. And they, in the bottom line, this is what they're wishing right now. The Republicans have no
Mhm.
bottom. Like, they'll go to the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. And are the Democrats, can they? They're representing us. And can we go forever? You know what I mean? So if it's a
Mhm.
waiting game, we often lose because we don't want to hurt the American people. Right. So, but I agree with you. I feel like we're going to be back in business by the end of the month. And I think there's a possibility of next week in the
Yeah,
October 20 something to also get the government
I
working again.
agree. I agree. And I also think that they're going to get a lot of pressure too with these No Kings protests coming up this weekend.
They
I feel like it's going to
will.
be record breaking.
Yes. Do you feel like, and I agree, I think it's going to be super record breaking. Do
Hmm.
you feel like this administration is going to try to make some kind of statement by doing something just over the top at one of these protests?
Yeah, I just read on it, and the cards actually looked pretty good for this coming protest. However, thinking about all of the protests I've been saying since the beginning of Trump's administration, I did feel like at some point he would try to suppress people coming out. And, we're seeing it with ICE and the National Guard right now. I did feel like he was going to do something that was going to piss off a lot of people and do something, push it a little bit too far that even Republicans can't condone it. And I think it will ultimately lead to his removal.
Right. A bridge too far, right? A
Yeah.
bridge too far. Um, there's a couple of things I do want to mention before I forget that my spirit guides were talking about phones. And then I saw somebody actually post this on social media. They do have the ability to scramble your your signal. So
Mm.
if you guys do go out this weekend and do the thing and you have your cell phone, first of all, you might want to literally turn it off. Like, because they're also got that new thing where they can scan everybody's numbers and get people's information.
Oh,
You might
interesting.
want to just
Yeah.
turn it off. Okay. Secondly, if you're going, please know everything you need to know. Like, write
Mhm.
it on a piece of paper, write down emergency numbers on a piece of paper, write down, this is the map of the 5 blocks that I'm going to be at. This is a place we all agreed to meet at 5 blocks away. Write everything down on pieces of paper. And last thing is, maybe mention to your kids, like, this is what the guide said. They said, have your kids have like a fun day without their cell phone, like as a game. Like, say,
Mhm.
okay, we're gonna all leave our cell phones at home. We're gonna go to a mall or a downtown or something, and we're all gonna figure out how to operate without our cell phones. Right? We're all gonna meet back at a certain time. Kids need this because we shouldn't
Mhm.
be depending on these cell phones because they are very vulnerable, especially to this kind of administration.
Interesting. Can they still track it and get all that information if it's shut off?
No, I don't think so because it's tracking the cell. What it
Okay.
does is it mimics the cell tower. It's not the cell. Your phone just connects to whatever
Mhm.
cell tower's around, okay? So
Right.
this technology becomes a cell tower and then your phone connects to it and then they can basically get your information.
I see.
Um,
Because what I
but
was
I
going to say is, maybe have your phone turned off, but if there is any riots or you do notice them, a paid agitator kind of coming
you
in and
can turn
trying
it
to
on.
yeah, film it.
Yeah.
I think that that will be important. I think we're gonna actually see some of that too. Um, I think it's important, not to live in the fear and allow the fear to consume you from standing up for what you believe in and speaking your truth. Um, but I agree. Be very cautious with it too. Be very aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't feel quite right, honor that. Your safety is the most important thing. I will also say too, I'd be cautious about if you're going to protest, actually going into the streets and
Yeah.
protesting in the streets. Make sure you're like on the sidewalk and off a little
I
bit. Just
wouldn't
be
be in the
very
middle.
aware of your surroundings,
Yeah.
but don't
And this
allow
is not to
fear
scare
to.
you.
Yeah, it's not to scare you, but don't, like I said, don't allow fear to
Right.
hold
This
you
is
back
to
from
prepare
doing
you.
something.
This is
Yeah,
be smart, right? Be smart.
absolutely.
That's why I'm
That's what's
telling you guys
important.
this, right?
We need that resistant movement right now.
Yeah. Believe me,
It's
these
only
kids will
tech
figure
that
it
we have
out.
left, it seems like.
They'll figure it out. They'll be using burner
Mhm.
phones, they'll be using GoPros. God only knows what they'll be using, you know what I mean? Like, they'll figure it out. But my people, I need to take care of my people, right? So I'm just telling
Mhm.
you, these are the message I've gotten for you. Yeah, so burner phones are great, but people aren't going to be going out and getting a burner phone. So I would just turn it off completely, put it
Mhm.
safely away somewhere, and then when When you need it, you can turn it on and use it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if airplane mode works, Seashell, because maybe it does. I'm not that smart. I think, is it still getting an it's not getting, I think it would work because it's not getting a cell signal. So you should,
Hmm.
but I don't know if you can video in airplane mode. You guys,
I think you can.
so yeah, this is what I'm saying. We're going to figure it out. We're sharing information. This is not about making I'm empowering you. I'm saying this is a problem. Let's go around it, right? That's what Kevin
Hmm.
and I do here.
Yeah. I think that
Yeah,
that's a great idea. I would definitely bring a phone, maybe have it turned off, but just in case you need to video something, or if something does get a bit dicey too, if you need to make phone calls.
for sure. Yeah, don't leave it at home. I would, but also we need to, as a population, especially younger kids, need to operate without it. Like my guides made me go out and get a paper map, like one of those atlases that I keep in my
Mhm.
car, right? So it's just being smart. I'm not, going over the top. I'm just taking some basic
Precautions. Yeah.
precautions, right?
Yeah.
So people are saying you can't, the cell phone doesn't work, this airplane mode doesn't work, but you guys research it.
Okay.
Google, Google's your friend. You want to do some questions?
Let's do it.
All right.
Lots going on, right?
You start some already. You've been busy.
I
Kevin's a
did get
good
a
hard
few.
worker over here.
And I
You want to
always
grab
love it
one?
when Susan and I work together. I'll just say ahead of time. I call it psychic ping pong. Susan will get a hit, and I kind of connect into the energy, and it gives me a hit or maybe a question to go further on, and vice versa. It's always, I always really enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Do you want to grab the first question?
Sure, I can. Let's see. Well, we were just talking about the protests. Were you picking up anything with the protests? I know you're saying to be cautious, but what are you feeling with energy besides, that it's going to be like record breaking? And I actually feel mainstream media really covering it a lot this time.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. I'm feeling that there's going to be, I mean, look, you guys, this is just what I'm getting, but I'm feeling like the local authorities, like police or troopers or whoever those local people are, but they feel like they're between a rock and a hard place. They're going to be called out. They're going to be out there too, right? And so
Hmm.
they may be a little testy, some of them, because they don't like this. They don't like anything about this. They feel like their power is being usurped. They don't like these, kidnappers. It's a turf war. So there's an added level of, and then you've got saboteurs, you got people that are going to show up and do things that are not us, right? So I think overall, given the number of people that's going to be out there, I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be things, because even if 5 incidents happen, but there were 500,000 people, or a million to
There's going to
10
be
million,
millions and
yeah,
millions of
10
people.
million people, right?
Mhm.
5 incidences is, comparatively not a lot. So you might see something on the news that scares you, but if you just put it into perspective, right?
Yeah.
That's probably not that much considering the number of people that were out there.
Yeah. I just threw a couple cards on it, and I actually feel overall the energy feels very positive because it's bringing people together and building this
Nice.
coalition of resistance against the regime. And it's a time for people to really stand in that power and strength here with the strength card. However, I'm not getting the tower or some major um, like unrest, but I do feel like there's some isolated incidents, like
Yeah.
small isolated instances, and people. I think we're gonna have like the paid agitators like the last time
Yep.
he was in office. The
Yep.
bullies kind of out there. So just be
Yep.
very aware of, like I said, your surroundings. But overall, it feels pretty positive and empowering.
Right. I agree.
And
All
I'm
right.
I'm going to be going out to the protests this time too.
Are
I'm
you
free that
nice?
Saturday, so yeah, it will be
Nice.
my first protest I've been to, so I'm looking forward to it.
Wow. Fantastic. Are you going by yourself or with friends or?
Um, I'm trying to talk my husband into going with me. He has to be a bit careful with his job, not to be overtly
Well, it's
political,
not
but
a bad idea because people are really getting, you know, doxxed, which means
yeah.
ID'd and identified and getting in trouble. It's you gotta take all these things into consideration, people. It's not worth losing your job or losing your mental health or your health
Mhm.
over this, right? Like, so be smart. There's lots of ways you can stick it to this administration. Being healthy is one of the best ways, right? Like taking
Absolutely.
care of your mental health is one of the best ways because
We
we're
have to
not.
put ourselves first right now,
Yes, yes.
the
So
self-care, yeah.
if you can't protest for whatever reason, you're good. You're fine.
Mhm.
Believe me, there's going to be a lot of people out there, a lot of people out there. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
But I will
okay.
make sure that I at least go, and if that's even just to be there to support them, so.
I don't blame you. Okay. Windy City says, "Will
Mhm.
Chicagoland be okay?" Chicago is just getting pummeled right now by this whole situation, and they've gone out into some of the suburbs like Evanston. There's reports. Um, I think it's going to be okay. I don't see it not being okay. I feel like maybe the question might be when, maybe the question is, when will this energy subside some around Chicago? Like, not be gone,
Okay,
maybe, but when will the energy get less intense in
yeah.
Chicago?
Let me throw some
Again, a
cards out.
timing question. Timing is hard because our spirit guides don't have time. We have time. We're the only ones that have time around here.
Yeah, the energy's fluid, so it kind of depends on, free will and course of action with the timing for some things. It's kind of always changing. All right. I will say I Chicago feels like it gets a little bit worse before it gets better.
But then it gets better, right?
I do see it getting better, but I'm almost wondering if Chicago is, where he tries to declare martial law or this insurrection act or
Mm.
something there. But like I said, I almost feel like it's going to be his undoing.
Yes.
Let me throw some cards.
I feel like it is going to get worse. But you know what? Chicago has snow. And these people are driving their personal cars, some
Mhm.
of them from Texas. Uh
Yeah,
they don't they're no match for Chicago winter, right? The only people that can understand the Chicago winter are
well,
Chicago
and
people.
the thing with it is too, I wouldn't want to mess with people
Well, I
from
wouldn't.
Chicago because they're going to fight back. They're
I'm
not just going to be there
We're
and give up.
smarter than them, Kevin. Come on.
Uh, yeah, um, I'm feeling the number six with this question. I'm not feeling like it's six months. It might be
6
about
weeks.
6 to 8 weeks is what I'm
Yeah.
feeling. Um, but I do get that there is something happens there that there's some grief here. And I think a lot of exposure here with the world. Like the world's going to be
The
watching it.
world's watching.
Overstep of force is what I'm getting. However, the final outcome is the star, which is that the star and the sun's the most positive in the deck. So um, it does bring kind of hope afterwards. After we kind of weather the storm is kind of what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
have the mercenary, people kind of
there it
charging.
is.
Ahead.
There it is.
The thing with the Knight of Swords, though, is it's kind of being a bit impulsive. So it's not a really planned, grounded strategy there. It's just sending people on attack. Um,
Exactly.
so, like I said, the strategy really isn't there. But like I said, I'm feeling like number six. So 6 to 8 weeks is what I'm picking up within the next
Yeah.
couple months, it's settling down.
Yeah. I don't get 6 days. I think Carolyn asked. I
Right.
don't think 6 day. I don't. This energy is way too strong right now. For six
And
days.
I really hope it's not 6 months. It feels more like a
It feels like
month and
6
a half
weeks
to 2 months. Yeah.
because I think some big things are going to happen in November, right? So I think that dovetails with these other things that, not that big things aren't happening in October, but things that would affect that. Um, And I'm actually a little concerned, frankly, about Memphis. I'm
Hmm.
concerned about Atlanta. I'm concerned about these other cities that are more racially mixed and integrated. I mean, that is right up their alley. They like that. This is who they're arresting, right? 9 times
Hmm.
out of 10, it's not a white person. So I'm a little more worried about Memphis, especially right now. Um, Even New Orleans, because, also as it gets cold, they're gonna take those resources out of Chicago and they're gonna go south, right?
Hmm.
New
Maybe
Orleans
even
doesn't even really have a winter,
Texas is
so
coming up on my radar as well.
Texas, okay,
Hmm.
interesting. So that would probably be Houston,
Hmm.
San Antonio, which is unfortunately a very big Latino, uh,
Hmm.
population. But you know what, you guys, this is what I wanna share too. My guys were saying this morning, the people that are getting exposed to this, either via video or by witnessing it or knowing someone that happened to, they're getting radicalized. Like, Kevin, what do
Hmm.
you think about that? Because I think these people are going from, like, it doesn't really impact me, I don't care, to being like really radicalized. Like, some of these people did, maybe you guys know this or maybe you don't, but ICE has been going after schools. They
Hmm.
show up at schools, and so now there's people that literally their run that they do every day, they run around the school. They don't run there usually, maybe they run to the park. No, they're doing laps around the school to protect the kids, so that's radicalizing people that would not normally be involved in politics, right? What do you feel about that? Do you feel that that they're creating a group of people who are gonna be more radicalized or more just more tuned into politics and more,
Hmm.
you know
Yeah, absolutely. And even within some of his base too. Um,
True.
and it's not just the ice. You think of the economy, him
Yep.
going after our constitutional rights. Even the right wing podcasters are starting to turn on him. The Epstein stuff, which I'm feeling something huge coming out with that very soon. So it's multiple things, right? It's waking a lot of people up.
That is true. The healthcare is going up. Well,
Yes.
PG is over there speaking like normal, like really talking about normal bread and butter. My people can't afford their bills. We need to get back to work. This is MTG, right? And
Yeah.
all the moderator, those all those web guys that are out there that do the shows, they're starting to talk about this. So I think the tide is turning against this Republican Congress and this administration.
Absolutely. Isn't it a really weird reality when MTG makes sense? Like,
Crazy,
what
crazy.
what reality are we living in right now? I
I
never
know.
thought I would see the day on that. But I
Yeah.
will say, even though the energy is really heavy and it's like things are continuing to build and things are so intense on multiple fronts right now, I think if you can just breathe and try to connect to that inner peace within all of us, I'm actually feeling very hopeful because I'm feeling this energy shifting sooner rather than later. I kind of feel like we're at the edge of the storm here. Um,
Oh, me too.
I mean, yeah, even Republicans are waking up, but I even intuitively feel the cabinet and Republicans are really starting to question, especially with the health around 45. Um, I feel talks about using the 25th Amendment, and I've been saying that since he's been in there. Um, I wasn't necessarily picking up impeachment. I felt like
More
questioning
25th.
how
Yep.
long he's going to be around. And
Yep.
I think that they're actively talking about that right now. I'm not saying they're ready to use that amendment tomorrow, but um, yeah, they're kind of all chatting behind the scenes about it.
I agree. And actually, I never got impeachment strongly. I got 25th Amendment, or he goes to the Great McDonald's in the
Yeah,
sky.
exactly. The
Uh,
health.
you know,
Yeah,
um,
I agree.
I mean, he could flee. I mean, there is energy. He's always wanted to be a president in exile, as far as I can tell,
Mhm.
because he could be the victim, right? He could play the victim card, and blame everybody, and then the money would roll in because he was the victim, or that's what he thinks. But like Kevin is
Mm,
saying, his own base is peeling off from him. And I saw last year, maybe even longer ago, the MAGAs and us all in the streets together protesting. And
mhm.
people were talking about on social media that they expect to see MAGAs in these protests. So it's these
Interesting.
predictions, all this energy is starting to get to come true, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I think as far as like what you're talking about with his administration, I want your opinion on this too, because I feel like there's the 25th Amendment requires his cabinet and his
Yeah.
VP to be able to start the ball rolling. And I feel like, and I want your opinion on this, the cabinet does not feel together on this.
No.
I feel like Trump still has some holdouts,
Mhm.
2 or 3 that are still on his team,
Mm,
and they're trying to it's almost like like a push pull tug of war to see who's going to win. And I feel
yeah.
like, what's his name, I feel like old JD is getting really impatient. I mean,
Yeah.
He wants Trump to burn it all down. He wants
Yeah.
that. And he gave Trump this whole fake peace thing. So now he's like, dude, I did all the things. Get out, right? Like we had an agreement. Get
Mhm.
out. And he won't leave, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he's been working behind the scenes for quite some time. I think we've chatted about it in other shows as well over the summer. We didn't see a whole lot of him, um, and him working with all of the big donors and um, head of support, Project 2025 people. Um, I agree with you. To me, I wouldn't say it feels like there's about half 50-50 of the cabinet right now that feels a bit split.
Right.
But I do think those that are still supportive of Trump, there's more and more where their support's starting to waver. I'm seeing what are those things in the playground, the teeter totter. Kind of it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. That's kind of what I'm seeing with it. His support's teetering.
His support is teetering. Wow. Do you feel like anybody in his cabinet, like who's that attorney that came out of nowhere and then represented him during some of those big Todd's
Todd
Blanche?
Blanche. Hmm.
Do you feel like anybody in his cabinet has any idea, inkling that they could go to jail? that that
Hmm.
do you think they really are afraid of that or worried about that at
Well,
all?
I think that may be the few people that still support him and are going to support him until he goes down. They don't have presidential immunity, so when he's out of there, who's going to be the one that gets in trouble? It's going to be all of them. They're going
All
to
of
be
them.
investigated and have charges, lose their law license. Um, so that's why I think some of them are so desperate for it. But there's worry there too with the health. How long can this stand? So I do see some of them actually trying to work behind the scenes and make deals, come up with contingency plans. I heard
Oh,
contingency plans.
that makes sense. That
Yeah.
totally makes sense. To make deals behind the forget Trump, I need to make my own little side deal because they're all criminals. I mean, that's how
Hmm.
criminals operate, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
That
the
is
thing is, and I'm not I know how it's supposed to go. If Trump was removed, 25th Amendment, JD Vance would take over. And I know a lot of people are afraid of him because he's somewhat intelligent, um, somewhat. He's school smart, right? Educate in that kind of sense. But the thing is, when Trump's out of the picture, all of these Republicans are kind of they don't have to be fearful of the base. The whole party is going to implode. They don't respect him. They don't fear JD Vance. Um, and so in that sense, I think it would be much easier because the whole party is going to be divided in multiple fractions. It's going to implode. The thing is though, I don't see JD Vance as president. If he is, maybe it feels like it would be very short. I don't feel like we're dealing with another 3 years of this administration.
no, I don't think so
Um,
either.
but I can't envision it. If I try to envision it, I don't see that. for whatever it's worth. I could be wrong. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I don't see it.
No, I don't think any of us see him serving out the entire term because exactly what you said. As soon as
Mhm.
45 is gone, there goes the support, and all the Congress people don't have anybody that's holding them, blackmailing them. That the
Mhm.
blackmailer's gone. So now they can get their own power, like MTG broke away. She's getting her own power. I think she thinks she's going to run in 28. So she's like, let me make my own, leadership
Well,
situation here.
can I ask you, do you think MTG is making a total 180 because she sees the writing on the wall
Yes.
and so she has to
Yes.
come up with that plan now because
Yes.
she knows Trump's not going to be in the picture that much longer? So
Yes.
she's actually, I never thought I would say this, but she's somewhat intelligent enough to come up with a plan while all the other ones are still spineless cowards and afraid to stand up to the king, right?
Well, I think what happened was she got locked out. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember her standing on the tarmac in that dress and rushing up to the rope and he just walked right past her like, "Who the hell are you?" Right? So she got locked out. But instead of doing a Laura Loomer or whatever, instead of like fawning, she backed up, licked her wounds like, "Okay, all right." And I think she got some good. I think there are Republican money people who realize our economy's going down, my money's going
Mhm.
down, and they're trying to peel off some Republicans, right? I think she's got money backing. She wouldn't do it without cover. She's not a brave person, but she's got money backing and they're telling her what to say. And she's always been a shill. So
Mhm.
she's just a shill for a different person, right?
Yeah.
But more are going to peel off like that.
Mhm. Do you feel like part of this strategy is because she knows some of the Epstein stuff that's about to come out too?
I think she knows everything. I think she knows a lot of things
She knows a
that,
lot.
yeah, and I think one thing about her, she might not be, like brilliant, but she's street smart. She's survived this long and
Mhm.
she kind of can see the losing side. That's how you stay alive in this is how you stay relevant. She's realizing this guy's going to take the fall. JD's going to take the fall. This gives me an opportunity to step into the savior position. She's going to hope to
Mhm.
go to those MAGAs and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm on your side." And I think she could. We should read on her because I'm getting chills. Um, Look, y'all, I'm
Did you
just telling
you
y'all
see
right
her at
now,
the
we
face of the
cannot
party?
deal with this.
You
What?
see her at the face of the party? Even though she's somewhat talking, it kind of come back to reality a little bit, she's still crazy as hell, right?
But they're crazy. I mean, they're not. It's the
She takes
Republican
it to
Party.
the
The
ninth
bar is low,
power. She takes it. She's a little bit more extreme than some of them. I think some
but
of them
she's
would
going to
have a hard
rebrand.
time. I agree. She's trying to rebrand. I think a lot of them would have a hard time taking her seriously as a leader. I'm not feeling it, but let
These
me throw
are
some cards
people that
on it.
take ivermectin, Kevin.
I know.
Your bar is so high. No, I think and I think Debbie's got a really good point. MAGA won't accept a female leader. So
Hmm.
I agree with that. But I also think MAGA's desperate. Like they want maybe what happens is MTG goes under some new MAGA person. I don't think it's Massey. Massey's the other one who's really been giving Trump all kind of grief over the Epstein files. And
Hmm.
he's a very conservative, almost libertarian kind of guy. But man, if some dude would step up, uh, him and MTG could probably do something together to take a lot of this. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just gotta hit. I feel like when Trump's out of the picture and you know what hits the fan, rather than the whole GOP coalescing behind one person, I'm feeling it being fractured into 4 or 5 different parties. So she may actually lead one of the
There
factions
you go.
there,
There you go.
but not the overall support.
Right. Right. And you read on both of us predicted this last year, maybe even longer, that the Republican Party would split in two, right? So
Hmm.
this makes perfect sense. They
It's
would
interesting.
accept her as a VP, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I do see her working hard right now to rebrand, but I definitely see she sees there's a grief here for those that made a deal with the devil, and she sees that very clearly. The Five of Cups is grief. The Lovers, it's partnerships, alliances, the devil, being chained to the devil. She sees that, so she's working hard against that, and she will be somewhat successful with it too. The Nine of
Yep.
Cups. But I don't.
Yep.
I'm not picking up her being the nominee in 2028 or having a huge amount of support. It feels like it's a small percentage that would back her.
Right. You know, at the end of the world, there's going to be a cockroach that scurries by. Okay, like these people can survive. Okay, like that's her energy. Um, it is true. Somebody mentioned, where is Ted Cruz? Where is Lindsey Graham? Where are some of these other people? They're laying low because they want to see, they want to step outside of the train wreck. And then after the train wreck, they're all gonna change their spots. I'm telling you, not just like MTG, right? They're all gonna change their, well, I never really believed that. I never really supported that. And you and we're gonna be like, of course you did. But middle
Mhm.
America might just go along with it, right?
I don't know. I mean, the one thing about Trump causing all of the chaos and destruction that he is, and I know it's so hard for all of us to deal with that. The one thing it's doing is it's waking people up.
Yeah,
And
radicalizing.
I feel like anybody that supported him, associated with him in MAGA, I don't see anybody. You might have a small percent of the cult that's always going to be there, but I will say the vast majority of people, I think they're going to be ashamed. They won't say that they supported this, even if they
So
did.
they'll change their spots too. They'll change their
Mhm.
story too.
Yeah. Can I ask you?
Yeah.
You're picking up too with the Epstein stuff. A lot more information coming out soon, right?
Yeah.
Can I tell you, I've been getting the strongest hit, and I actually was feeling like it would be around the middle of October here. Again, take the timing with a grain of salt. But I was feeling that not necessarily all of the names of those that were in connection to Epstein coming out, because I don't think we'll ever actually see the full list. I think that there's so many powerful people
Right.
on there. We're going to get a good amount, but some of those people we'll never see, unfortunately. But I think a lot of information and the damning information is going to be the financial ties to
Yeah.
Epstein and funding the trafficking, and that's where I think Trump is going to get caught up into it.
Yes. Yes. He's a partner.
And I'm
He's a
getting
business
goosebumps
partner.
from
He's
my
a
head to
business
my
partner.
toes.
Yes.
Goosebumps all
Yes.
over.
100%. That's where they're gonna get him, is
Mhm.
he's literally a business. He allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, he was involved in the procurement and the trafficking and I'm seeing that, the mob, the whole thing, right? The RICO. That's where you get RICO, right? So I 100% agree with you. Now I think, and I agree with that, we're not gonna see the whole thing, but I also say, don't underestimate these victims. There are so many out there that we don't even know their names that
Mhm.
are going to come forward. That this energy wants, it just wants to be known. It wants to be
Mhm.
exposed. It will not be hidden, is the energy that I get around that.
Interesting. Yeah, I do feel more people coming up and speaking their truth. Although, and there'll be some accountability, but I think for most of them, unfortunately, most of the victims, it's not going to be the justice that we all want for them, unfortunately. However, I think so many of them just want to move on with their life and move on from that trauma too. Um, but I think they think it's very important that their truth be told. So they're feeling empowered in this moment.
Yeah.
Something else was coming to me. Oh, do you? Well, obviously, Congress is all hiding with the shutdown and all of that. Johnson doesn't want to swear in this new Congresswoman. Was it Grijalda? I think Congresswoman Grijalda.
Uh-huh.
She'll be in. I feel her in a week or two. Um,
Yes.
but I'm not necessarily feeling the information coming from Congress. Maybe some, but this big bombshell, I'm actually feeling like it's coming from overseas, and that's how we
Yeah.
we hear about it.
So many of us have gotten that
Mhm.
overseas connection, right?
Yeah.
Um, do you feel like that's the financial part of it? Or is that more of the finances?
I think so. I am also picking up on a big corruption scandal coming up too. And I'm wondering if it maybe has to do with um, like the Trump Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency.
Oh, for sure. My God, y'all. My
That
God.
too.
They are pumping and dumping every time I go on, and I don't really follow stocks and bonds because it's
Yeah,
not
I
my
don't either.
thing, but Spirit keeps putting it in front of me. They're these they call them whales, right? That short a stock and then all of a sudden the stock just like literally drops off a cliff. Somebody is
Mm,
making hundreds of millions of dollars. They
yeah,
they say Barron is making hundreds of millions of dollars. This is insider trading. This
yeah,
is illegal, right? This is completely illegal if Barron is doing that or if these people are doing that. So I'm wondering, but see, here's where I want to help you guys put puzzle pieces together. What Kevin is picking up on is, people outside of the United States want to help us. They desperately want to help us, so they're going to be like, hey, we've got some legit, info for you. But
mhm,
that wouldn't be enough if there wasn't somebody willing to support it getting somewhere. That's where you get these other moneyed Republicans who are saying, yes, we will accept your call now. Because I think that call's been made and hasn't been
mhm,
answered. But now somebody's ready
mhm.
to answer it because they're ready to get 45 out. They're ready to get JD in. They're ready for anything to change because we are getting ready to really experience some, hardships economically, and that affects them. So, yeah, I think the timing is right now for all these things to happen.
Yeah. Can I say, as you were talking, I was kind of zoning out and kind of getting some hits. I'm sorry, but
No, that's
um,
good.
I feel something significant coming up with Putin, and I feel like this
Yes.
Epstein connection actually may come from him and Iran, because there's an Israel and Trump element to this with the Epstein stuff. So I don't know. I think it will be a bit interesting.
It's going to be very interesting.
But
And
I'll
and it,
say,
they're all connected. I mean,
oh yeah, for
Netanyahu,
sure.
Trump, and Putin are all three connected energetically in every other way.
Hmm. I oh, we've been talking about like September, October being huge months. I feel like the energy feels super heightened, unfortunately, through the rest of 2025 and into like the spring of 2026. So this is a period that I'm feeling like big change happening, but it's going to take a while to kind of work through all the chaos that we're going through.
Do you feel like, and don't let me forget to ask you about Tish James. Do you
Yeah,
feel like once JD ascends the throne, if he does, like you're not sure that he
yeah.
will, but I agree that if he does, it's going to be a pretty short presidency. Even if it's ever really accepted, like I don't know. So, do you feel like once he does that, that he tries to calm things down? Do you feel like he tries to get ICE to come back under control a little bit? I mean, do you feel like he does anything at all to bring the temperature of the country down?
Let me throw a card or two. It's hard for me to, like I said, I'm not even necessarily picking that up, him being in there, but obviously it's a possibility, um, because that would be the logical next step, right? That's how it's stated in the Constitution, that the VP would become president.
We only have so many
Ooh.
options.
We had the tower fly out. I don't think that that's tempering the situation. This is explosive. I think, and you think of it too, the tower is that crumble of anything that's not built on a strong, solid foundation. So it's the collapse. He's
Right.
included in this too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. He's not going to be able
He,
to
he
get
will be part
daylight.
of the downfall. When Trump goes down, he's going down
He's
with the
right
ship.
behind him. Okay, okay, okay. Read on that. So, so let's just ask the cards, right? Like, so
Mhm.
when Trump goes down, what is JD's energy as a president? And I'm telling you guys, the question, how you answer it is super important because
Mhm.
if you just ask how his energy is or whatever, it could be anything. How is
You just
his
have to be
energy?
specific.
You have to be very specific.
Mhm.
Trust me. So how is his energy as president? Like is it a strong energy or a weak energy? I don't know how else to word it, but if you think of another way, do it.
Oh, I think this is interesting. My first card out is a Queen of Pentacles, so it's a strong, grounded female energy kind of coming in. If he came in as president, he would try to be the bully, but he's not the bully, you know. And I get retreat. He's trying to be oppressive, um, trying to bully his way through things, and it doesn't go his way. He has to take a step back. It's a retreat card, and there's grief here too. Queen of Swords, interesting. I feel like there's going to be so many different fronts of what takes Trump out that it's really hard to actually get a clear image of what that final thing is. It's like it's
Right.
multiple things between, you know, for entertainment purposes only, the election 2024, and the, you know, mishaps and manipulation with that. Because I'm actually seeing that in the cards too. So maybe some information of that comes out around that time. The Epstein stuff, Trump's health, the economy, him pushing it too far with the military. It's like it's multiple things. So it's hard to get really clear and focus on what that exact thing is. I'm getting from these cards, JD Vance is leaving. He may try to be the bully and try to fight back, but there's defeat here. There's a grief and there's retreat. So, and
Yeah.
interesting too, in this deck, it's a black female coming out too.
Nice. Nice. I would love to see.
I
Might be Tish James, to be honest with you.
It
So
could be Tish James. And the thing is I wouldn't say Kamala's out, but I don't think if Trump was out, I don't see her taking over right away. She wants to run for 2028 to see if she can get it on her own.
she's a by the book person. She wants to
Mhm.
run and do it the way, instead of being thrown into a race with 100 days.
Exactly.
That was BS.
She has something to prove, is
That's
what I'm
true. She has
picking up.
something to prove. And I think she's going out to the people and saying, I am different. I am not
Mhm.
going to be in this system. I am not going to be the typical Democrat, right? Like
Yeah.
the more she's out, the kind of the more real she gets. She's getting a little combative and she's, using her cuss words and you know what I mean? Like, I love it. I love it. Do it. So I think that's interesting. I want to just say, so what you're saying is that because I see things coming back, like being pulled back. So the reason maybe is that just because he's being pushed back,
Mhm.
not that he rebrands or changes his direction, but he doesn't have that power, right? Which is what I've seen too. Congress is going to turn against him. Everybody's going to turn
Mhm.
against him. The Supreme Court, nobody likes him. He doesn't have any support. So he's going to have a pretty bad time trying to be the bully.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's not going to go well for him. He's going to have to retreat, and there's a lot of defeat and heaviness, sadness, loss there too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm happy for
Mhm.
him. It sounds like a lot of people are having problems on YouTube. Sorry, everybody. Apparently, this is coming up over and over again in the chat that YouTube is glitching and taking you back to the beginning or something. And I don't know what's going on there. And I'm sorry that's happening.
Mhm.
Um, let's talk briefly about Tish James because they came for her over the same thing they try to come for everybody. You didn't check this box, you said whatever. And she rolled her sleeves up and said, I've been waiting for y'all. What took so long? Right? Like she said, what took so long? So she's going to investigate him financially
Mhm.
to the ends of the earth. I feel like this woman, if she does nothing else for the rest of her life but investigate him, she'll be happy.
Oh yeah. Did you see? I didn't catch the whole thing, but she was
I didn't catch the whole thing.
campaigning for Mandami. She was pissed. She's not playing. Can I make one comment and we'll talk about Tish James? But a lot of people in the chat are saying other readers are are saying, you know, for Kamala, like she's out. To be honest with you, respectfully, I respect all the other readers, but I don't care what other psychics say. I don't read on what other psychics pick up. I can only be true and authentic to what I'm feeling. I could be wrong. But I don't think she's out just yet. I'm not saying she's going to be president or the nominee. I think it's a good chance. And Susan and I had talked about this a year and a half ago, talking about 2028. We thought it might be between Newsom and Kamala for 2028. Wasn't thinking that it was the exact situation of how we'd get there, but yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really care what other psychics say. Respectfully, there's been times I've made predictions where other psychics have been wrong, and vice versa. I've been wrong too. So
Right. I just can't watch a lot of people because then it gets in my human brain and I
mhm.
want to say what I get. Like I just want to try to be, and
Yeah,
it's not about what everybody else gets or doesn't get. And I think it's
exactly.
great that you guys watch all of us and you kind of, like, oh, okay, everybody's getting this. Then to me, if we're all getting something similar, there's probably a lot of energy in that direction, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm just
I
I'm
I
just feeling
agree.
don't count her out just yet. I've read on
No,
Gavin Newsom, and if you were to make bets right now, it would seem like he would be the nomination.
yeah, I
How
saw your
things are
video.
shaping up too. But when I threw on Gavin Newsom being president, he had horrible cards. It's not to say that he couldn't be the nominee, but it was going to be a very tough journey. So I think
It's
it'll be
not
interesting how
peaking
it
too
all.
early, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I'm gonna say I got my problems with Gavin. I kinda understand now after CK's demise that Gavin was trying to make inroads with those kind of people, right? Like that's why he went on
mhm,
those podcasts and why he did he was thinking I need to be a president for everybody, right? But I'm grateful for him for drawing fire because that's what he's
mhm.
doing. He did it when Biden was president last year. He drew fire. He stood out there and took all the crap and he's still doing it. He's still doing it, right? And
Mhm,
y'all, that's like he's sacrificing in a lot of ways his self for this
mhm.
because they're going to have such a I don't know. We'll see what he does in 28. But I think I agree with Kevin that he's got a hard row to hoe. It's almost easier to come out of nowhere like an Obama and run. So nobody
Yeah,
knows who you are. Nobody has a whole dossier to pull out stuff about you. They had to work hard to catch up and get
yeah.
things
He was
done.
just a senator for one term, and
Yeah.
of course his charisma and him just captivating the moment. The thing with it though too is that the Democratic Party, we're talking about the Republican Party imploding and changing. I'm not necessarily feeling an implosion for the Democratic Party, but we're doing a bit
Mm,
of soul searching as a
it's
party too.
gonna be it's gonna
And
be
there's a lot of people that are not Gavin Newsom fans, especially the young progressives.
yeah.
There's going to be a big divide between all of these corporate Democrats and these people that are meeting the moment. And not to say that he's not, because he's definitely playing fire with fire, and I love how he's trolling Trump. Um, but I think a lot of people are kind of tired of the same old Democrat, and they want something a little bit different too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all of that. And I think that's why Kamala Harris is doing it the way she's doing it. She's outside of the system. She's charting her own path. She's not
Mhm.
and you know why too? Because the Democrats tried to take her out. Nancy
Mhm.
Pelosi tried to take her out. So
Yeah.
she knows she doesn't have any fans or friends in the Democratic Party. So she's got to be the maverick. She's got to do it on the outside, right? So it's going to be interesting, right? Like it's just going to be
Mhm.
very interesting. But heads up, y'all, heads up. The Democratic Party is probably going to be a lot of infighting because
Yeah.
we're coming to terms with Schumer maybe isn't doing the thing. Nancy Pelosi isn't doing the thing. Maybe they've been in too long and maybe we just need a radical person in there to do something
We need
completely
young
different,
blood.
you
We
know?
need some of these people that have been career politicians their whole life that are 80, 90 years old. It's time
Like,
for the change of the guard to kind of come in. And somebody that meets this moment, that's good with the messaging, where Democrats have often suffered
Oh my God.
in the past.
Oh my God.
We need a change of leadership. And yeah, I agree. Kamala is kind of in that place where the party failed her. You know, it
Oh,
failed
really?
her.
They attacked
They
her.
they did not. Yes, there was a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes. I think Kamala knew of some of the manipulation in the 2024 election and wanted
Yes.
to do audits and look into it. And
Yes.
the establishment told her, no, we're not
Yes.
doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so she's in a place too where she's trying to decide where she is in the party and how does
That's
she go forward. And I
and
think it's
where's the
actually
party?
good. Yeah. And I think it's a good moment for her right now because she's on her book tour. She gets to travel across the
I agree.
United States and talk to people and listen to
I
what
agree.
what they really want.
I
Um,
agree.
so she's being very strategic. She's not jumping in the race right now. It's going to be a very um, a lot of people jumping into the primary for 2028.
A
So,
lot of
and
people.
we're still 3 years away. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling she's quite finished just yet. I'm not saying she's getting the nomination. I just still think that there's a chance there. So
Yeah. I agree. I wouldn't count out anybody at this point because all of this is in flux. That's why we have Mondami. That's why we have Jasmine Crockett. That's why we have Tish James lighting up, right?
mhm,
Everything is in flux right now.
yeah,
There's no the whole point is that the energy will not support doing things the old way. So even if
mhm,
the old guard Democrats stay on, they're going to have to do something in a new way. That's just
yeah.
the bottom line.
And do you feel like there's going to be a big push, kind of like from this Bernie AOC group that is against taking big corporate money? I'm feeling like a lot of grassroots campaigns, and those that
Yes.
take the big corporate money, like
Yes.
unfortunately Gavin Newsom and others, I think that they're going to have a hard time explaining that.
They can't explain it. I mean, it takes a lot of money to run, but I think there's a hard reality coming in 26, 27, and 28. And people don't care. They're sorry. They don't
Yeah.
care. They don't care if you're the best person in the world. If you're aligned with corporations, you're out. It's really going to be an anti-capitalist, an anti-robber baron sentiment that's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, not between now and 28, now and 55. Like
I
we're
feel like it's a
turning
little bit
against them.
sooner than that, but I agree. I feel the energy mounting. The thing is we're not going to ever have any real change in like the status quo with our government until we get big money out of politics. I actually feel like there's a big push towards that. It might not be 2028. I'm feeling more like 2032, maybe that election, it being pretty big. But I do see us shifting, I would say within the next 10 years, and getting big money out of politics. And the big corporations and billionaires really having to pay their fair share, you know?
I
Share
agree.
in that equality with everybody, not
Which
just the
is
few.
more democratic socialist, which
Mhm,
is more AOC, Bernie, and the squad. But the Democrats have to get the messaging, as you said. They have to educate people about what it is that this is, right? And
mhm,
but here's the thing again, you guys, the energies are complementary. This didn't work in the 80s. It didn't work in the 90s. It didn't work in the 2000s. But now it's going to work because the people are against the robber barons, and we have these people like AOC and whoever who are this. Let's show you how it can be done.
mhm.
Let's show you a different way. So I think that's beautiful because the energy is there. The people that can help us get there are there at the same time. Um, I want to ask you about this question. This is a very interesting question. Johan
Mhm.
says, the oligarchs tried to blackmail Pope Leo. Was Trump a part of that scheme? The Pope said they were trying to silence him on climate change and the way immigrants did something, but your message is gone. Probably are being attacked and disappeared.
Mhm.
Um, your question is, was Trump a part of that scheme? Um,
I'm not feeling it. And
I'm not
I'm
feeling it
too
either.
shocked to say that, but I'm not really getting the
We're not
connection
doing
there,
it. And it
unfortunately.
doesn't matter because Trump is a
Mhm.
part of so many other dastardly things, right? It doesn't make Trump innocent. To me, that felt more international,
Mhm.
international people, international groups. Um, Trump doesn't believe Pope Leo has any power. He
Right.
doesn't believe that the Catholic Church can do jack nothing to him. So he's not going to expend his energy
He
or his
doesn't
money.
respect them either. I mean,
He doesn't
listen,
respect
and
them, right?
not to
Yeah. So,
mention, they were doing AI memes of him as the Pope, remember?
yeah, that's right. I remember that. That's right. Right. What did you say, Johan? You said, he did say it was international, but never named anyone. I think it's international. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say that, I don't, there's a lot of things I just won't say. I have my own safety to consider. And in the end result, it doesn't help you or anybody else to know this. I would say, just know that, what the guides are saying, it's pretty interesting because
Mm.
frankly, the Catholic Church has been not the best, right? Not the
Yeah.
most, godly organization in their tenure, right? Religion has always been a source of divide and conquer. So it's interesting that now the Catholic Church is sort of getting an opportunity, right? To say mea
Mm.
culpa, to say, okay, let's try. I mean, I think the Catholic Church has done obviously things for the homeless and has been involved in these things, but it's kind of been offset by a pretty rough history. So I just think
Yeah.
it's interesting. Um,
Well, and I think that they're gonna have a bit of a hard time themselves, the church and all of that,
yes,
because we're in this time
for
of
sure.
illumination, and the way of the old needs to come to the surface and have awareness on it so that we can learn from this and move on, and there can be some kind of accountability. And I feel like, um, the church is gonna get wrapped up in this time too. A lot of big secrets coming out. So not necessarily about the current pope, but a lot of things that they've done, in the past.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you
Or
about the
things that they
economy.
did. Yeah, let's
What's
take a
that?
look at the economy. Or
Let's look
things
at the
that they
economy
did in
because
the past. Yes. Sorry.
because here's the thing, again, I'm not an economist, but I will say this: the guides predicted, and I think you did too. We didn't see, when Biden was president, everybody said, "Oh, we're going into a recession. Oh, we're going into a depression. Oh, there's not gonna be any food." Everybody was freaking out. I never saw that. Like,
I
I'm
never
like, I
thought
don't know
that.
how this man is gonna do it, but he's gonna do it. It's a soft landing.
Mhm.
We're gonna be okay. Now, fast forward to today. So the last couple of days, and maybe y'all in the chat know more about this than I do, but the guides keep calling about the economy constricting and squeezing, and I think that's a recession. I don't,
Mhm.
but they won't stop talking about it. Okay, so I don't understand what that means. I've kind of Googled it, but so I gather the economy is going to go through some things, right?
Mhm.
I don't see a depression, but what do you see with the economy? And do you want to give it a time zone? Do you want to say like between now and the spring, or now and the holidays, or
Yeah. The thing, I've never personally felt a huge crash, I'll be honest with you. To me, it feels like, obviously, and I'm not trying to minimize people that are struggling right now, because I think a lot of people are.
the
Um,
prices are insane?
yes, the prices, people losing their job.
Yeah.
Um, the economy is kind of at a standstill right now. It feels like it's kind of actually um, adjusting is the word that's coming to mind for me. I I don't want to say, I'm definitely not feeling a depression. I guess it depends on what you define as a recession. So if you count not a lot of growth, high prices, there's some financial struggles there. And I do feel like the stock market going down a little bit, not a crash. And I actually feel like that's kind of where we're at right now. I've been saying around middle of the month, I felt it starting to trend a bit down because it feels like it's been a bit overinflated, right? So that's where it's kind of adjusting.
Yes.
Um, so I'm not minimizing people having a hard time with inflation, prices. Um, job security. A lot of people are losing their jobs, especially in the government right now. But I'm not feeling, if you want to define it as a recession, it feels like a mild recession to me. And it does
Okay.
feel like it starts to plateau and even out, I would say, around spring of next year.
Okay. Right. So that could feel uncomfortable. I just want to forewarned is forearmed, right? Like you're going to experience, I feel, a situation where it's stagflation, like somebody said in the comments. The guide
Yeah.
said stagflation about a month ago. Today they're just saying economic contraction, Beverly. That's it. So I want to say from my perspective, and I would love Kevin's too. And here's the thing, Kevin and I, we don't just try to read what's happening. We try to help you, right? We try to give you guidance on how you can navigate it. So I feel like you're going to see just almost untenable. It's almost like the prices and the unemployment and everything just feels really, to me, it feels worse than it really is. Like maybe that's because we're already been through so much and we can't handle anything else. And by, November, December, we're like, this is so bad, right? It's really not as bad as it feels like it is what the guides are saying, but it is going to be bad. I think that's actually what Kevin just said too. But
Yeah.
so
In a sense.
maybe what you want to do is literally get a budget. Like, if you've been a person who's always been able to sort of just like eyeball your budget, like kind of not have to keep a budget and been okay, this is going to be a time, because I'm telling you, the costs are going up and your budget is not going to go up. So
Yeah.
you could end up being in trouble, right? I don't want that for everybody. So I want you to budget yourself, even if you don't usually budget. I think now is a good time to budget.
Hmm. I just got a hit too. And a lot of people are asking about the Supreme Court. I know we're at a little bit over an hour, but if you want, I'm
We can
fine
do it.
going on for a little bit
We
longer
can go a
too.
little longer.
I do feel like the Supreme Court is going to step in with the trade war stuff and kind of put a
Do
stop
you?
to that. So I think that may be why we're not feeling like a total crash. And not to say that we're not going to solve some challenges from that, because Trump showed his ass, and so who wants to work with us now? Or oh, they have to fold, so why can't we kind of raise our tariff rates and all of that too? Or we're not bringing them back down. So not to say that that's going to be amazing overnight, but I do feel like the Supreme Court with the tariffs, there's a lot of big money that goes into the Supreme Court, and they're not a big fan of these tariffs right now and the uncertainty with it. So in that sense, they'll vote along with those that are supporting them. So I do see them kind of putting a check in that sense. Do you want to talk about? I think it was today they were starting to do a hearing on the Voters' Right Act, and what are you picking up with
Oh
that?
yeah. Oh yeah. But I do want to say on the Supreme Court, I think I'm going to link that back to these robber barons that are
Hmm.
starting to not enjoy the economy, peeling off from Trump. They're going to put that money into the Supreme Court and start, pulling in their, the things they're owed, right? So I think
Yeah,
what
they're
Kevin's
into
saying
this.
makes sense, right? Because I don't know if it's going to be a wholesale thing, but I think you're going to start seeing some indication. And I think that's when Vance is president, because it's going to be easy for people to stand up to Vance. He's got no
Mhm.
dirt on anybody. He's nobody himself, right? So you're going to see just everybody kind of push back on Vance. But then as far as like the Voting Rights Act, okay, my guides are saying it's kind of bad news.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
agree.
kind of bad news. We predicted that abortion would be illegal. I think they're going after gay marriage. I'm telling you right now, this is not good news. But here's the silver lining that I get with this. It's just like Jasmine Crockett. Like they're going to try to run her out of her district, and she's going to go to another district that's Republican. But I think she's going to carry that district because
Mhm.
the Republicans are like, WTF? right? Like, this is no country we want to live in. We don't want to have to sneak our, employees, maybe they're landscapers, or maybe they're private chefs or maid, whatever. We want
Mhm.
normalcy here, right? Like, we want to be able to just send our kids to school, whatever. So these people are going to start voting blue. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, they can change the laws and they can change the districts. But what I'm getting is they're going to be surprised when all those districts start going blue. And we've
Oh yeah.
evidenced this in all these special elections that are going blue, like the Alaskan mayor that went blue. So I do think they're going to do it, but I don't think it's going to have the outcome that they think it is. What do you get?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that they're going to overturn the whole civil rights voting or civil voting act. But the section that I think they're looking at, um, I wasn't feeling the best outcome with it as well. I agree. The thing is people are pissed off right now. And I actually feel like a lot of this redistricting that they're doing, they may be successful in some of the cases, but it actually, in a big blue wave election, um, a lot of like solid Republican districts I actually see going blue. So
Exactly.
I actually feel like them changing the maps, it's going to backfire on them, especially in Texas. And you're going to see more blue states changing their maps too, along with California.
Oh,
You
really?
said
Okay.
Jasmine Crockett. You feel like she's going to keep her seat?
I think she's gonna keep her seat, but I don't think it's a cakewalk. I don't
Hmm.
think this is a cakewalk. I think, they're gunning for her in all kind of ways, and, they're gonna make it very hard on her. Um, I mean, really hard on her in weird ways, like, I don't know, somehow or another, they keep her from traveling, or like, like I don't know what they're nuts. These people are freaking nuts. And there's no laws, there's no guardrails anymore. There's no due process anymore. So they can pretty much do whatever they want, right? But
Yeah.
I feel like she comes out on top. Or I would say this. It's just like Kamala Harris. The votes are there. The sentiment is there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she should win. This is what I'm getting. What do you get?
I hope you're right. Because when I read in it, and I haven't read on her in a few months, but I actually felt like there was a lot of changes, but it actually felt like it's leading her to bigger and better things.
Oh,
So
really?
if she
Well, yeah,
were to be voted out, I could easily see her in the next administration's cabinet,
yeah.
um, and really being part of like the messaging. She's the way forward for the Democratic Party. Maybe it's not 2028, but the way the party is going, she will be a leader there.
I
Um,
agree.
so I was almost feeling like bigger and better ways, and ways that she could be more effective too. But I hope you're right. I
I
hope that
agree with you. I got the same thing. If she doesn't pull through, they're gonna be sorry, because she's gonna
Mhm.
end up that woman could end up on the Supreme Court. That woman could end up
I can
in
see
the
that.
Oval
Attorney
Office. I
General
mean,
maybe one day.
she could end up anywhere she wants, trust me.
Mhm.
So, it I do think she's gonna pull it through. I
I
do
hope
feel
you're
like
right.
it's a squeaker. I feel like it's a squeaker. I feel like there's still hanky-panky going on with that situation. Um, but man, um,
Can I say we were talking about the Supreme Court, and I was getting a hit too. Um, and like I said with the trade war stuff, all of the oligarchs and wealthy, corporations paying into the Supreme Court and getting their way that way. But I do also feel like Trump and the MAGA part of the party has compromise on the Supreme Court, so they're kind of being in a tug of war
yes,
match.
yes.
Um, yeah, they have blackmail on them. But I do agree when Trump's out of the picture, it's like the tide shift. So, you know, we've seen them give Trump a lot of what he's been wanting, or taking his cases expedited, where they wouldn't have done that for any other president. So there's kind of like a push and pull, I feel like, with the Supreme Court. But with Trump and all of this corruption being exposed, especially when it comes to our democracy, our constitution being challenged, and us really being in a constitutional crisis right now. even though we all feel really uncomfortable and it feels very unstable right now, at the end of the day, this is all meant to happen to bring awareness of where there's weaknesses and where we can make massive reforms. Um, talking about getting big money out of politics. This is the time that we're in right now going forward. Um, term limits. I see them talking about expanding the court. I actually feel like when Trump's out of the picture, I feel some investigations and some of the Supreme Court members having to leave. So the whole thing is yeah, it's very uncomfortable right now, but it kind of needs to unfold this way so we can all wake up. We can all have that spotlight and have that awareness of what's really going on so we can make the changes necessary going forward.
That is so true, and it's such a good point. This is all not for
Mhm.
naught. This is all not happening because we're being punished, or it's happening because we need to wake up, that some of these
Mhm.
other people need to wake up, and that we need to change things, that he's doing all this stuff. The Constitution is allowing him, right? Like they figured out all the loopholes. So we now know we have a problem and we can fix it, right? So that's in the energetically, this was the time to do it.
Mhm.
I just want to say, people, yes, YouTube is having all kind of problems apparently. Please go back and watch this video from the beginning. We did cover No Kings from the very beginning. So if you're just coming on or you've been kicked off, I'm really sorry, but we've covered a lot of topics. So please go back and watch that. And Dion, the people don't wake up. It's pain, right? Like you don't know anything is wrong until you experience pain. That
You
this is our pain, right?
we get comfortable and complacent, right?
Yeah.
With the status quo of everything. So we really need, unfortunately, sometimes we need that change, that unsettled feeling. We need that suffering to take place. We need it to affect us personally so that we can really realize what's truly going on. We need that wake up call. You know, change is never easy. We kind of like things to be comfortable and we like to feel safe. Um, but ultimately, in a sense, we have to embrace this change because with that comes that growth, that perseverance, that evolution, which is ultimately what we're all down here on Earth um, to experience, right? To evolve.
We're going to
So,
build a better country. That's why I tell you guys, make your list. What do
mhm,
you want? Right? Like
yeah,
this next year, and between next year and the next election, 28, they're going to be listening because they're going to understand that citizens have just like gone wild, right? So they're going to want
mhm,
to figure out where is their pain point so we can help them, right? That we're not
yeah,
going to be so easy as the magus. So get your list together. What do you want? What is your list? Do you want free health care? Do you want
mhm,
a higher minimum wage? Do you want higher social security? Write your list, know your list, and then get it out there in front of elected officials, because we're going to have an opportunity to negotiate. And if we, fumble that, if we just let somebody else negotiate on our behalf without our list, then we're going to get crap again, right? So
yeah,
this isn't all for nothing. This is really important. It's an important time, and we're going to get through it. It is
yeah.
horrible. I mean, I'm telling you, it's horrible to see what is happening. So take your breaks, right? Take breaks.
I think I'll say, and I've talked about this too. It's an awakening and shifting that we're going through right now that's necessary. It's not easy while we're in the middle of it because like I said, it makes us feel really uncomfortable and unsafe. um, but in a sense, what we're going through right now is to wake up some people on the other side, and I've said that that's kind of a lesson that a lot of people are learning. But I will say for our side, um, because a lot of people are, why is this happening? I didn't vote for him, this and that. I would say a lesson for us on our side is to not give into the fear. We are not victims. We are not hopeless. We are in charge of our reality and where we go moving forward. So rather than allowing fear to consume you, and I know it's hard, it's not easy. Um, Make the list, focus in on the world that you want to create. And don't give up hope. Sit in that love, the hope, the joy. Do those things that are uplifting for you. That self-care being really important. If you feel like, I'm having a really stressed day, I'm feeling really ungrounded, turn off the news, turn off YouTube. Take time for yourself where you can get really clear and still. Bring your attention to the present moment. Breathe. But the most important thing I would say for all of us right now is to keep the hope. Where is it that what world do you want to create? Put your attention and awareness there, because our thoughts, our actions, our beliefs are really powerful. And when we're sitting and I hate Trump and this sucks and that kind of energy, we're just putting more energy into this current suffering that we're all kind of
Right.
going through. So let's be that change. Let's focus in on the change that we want to see in the world. I think that is so important right now.
Yeah. Put in the light, because they feed off the dark. That they love the fear. They want us to
Yeah,
cower and hide and be
exactly.
supplicants, right? To be their victims. That's what they want, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
instead, what they said yesterday. I'm going to say this. This is so important. If you have $5, give $5. If you need $5, ask for $5. You have two choices here. You're either in one camp or another, right?
Mhm.
This is how we're going to get through this, because I have $5. I give $5. You need $5. There's $5. This is how we're going to get through this. So get in your community. Food banks are going to need food.
Mm,
Clinics, like medical clinics, there are free clinics, believe it or not, in a lot of cities. Go out to community centers. If you have some stuff that you don't need anymore, or arrange a yard sale and donate that money to some of these places. This is how you want to feel better about yourself. This is how you can do it, right? Just reach
absolutely.
out to one person and help them, and or ask for help.
Mm,
Please don't be in your house isolated saying, I can't afford my medicine, I can't afford my food. That's not, we can't help you. I can't help. Nobody can help you. You've got to get out there and say, I need help. I need help. And go to 5 different places looking for that help. Because you know what? And I know this to be true. When you get that help, when you get your feet under you again, you're the person who goes out and helps others.
hmm
It's
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
cycle. It's
Like a
literally a
boomerang.
cycle, right? It's a boomerang. So
Mhm.
ask for the help if you need it. Give the help if you can. That's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I agree with that, Susan. And also, like, I love that you said too, um, they want us to be in a state of resistance and fear. Like I said, we are all powerful beings. We're sovereign in our energy. We don't have to accept this reality that we're going through. We get to create the reality that we want. We're not helpless. We're not victims. We're not powerless. That's how they want us to feel. Rise above that, you know, and do whatever you can to be in an aligned, high vibrational state right now. The thing is, too, is there's a lot of shifting going on right now, and we need the lower vibrations to be exposed and to wake people up to collectively continue to raise the collective right now. So it's all happening for a reason. Um, but really do the self-care, grounding, find ways that you can be of service, like you said, community, or even being part of this resistant movement, protest. If you can't protest, find ways that you can volunteer with this resistant movement. Find those ways that are empowering for you, that that you're actually taking some kind of action to make a difference.
yeah.
We all have
That's
our part
our
to play
community.
in that. Hmm.
That's our community. Guess what? There's going to be the MAGAs. They're going to be out there being violent. They're going to be out there being crazy. That's them. Let them do their thing, right? Like, we have our marching orders. We're light workers. Our marching orders is to keep our energy as, sort of, it's rough, but
You have to,
keep it moderated, right? Take care of
yeah,
ourselves, because after this stuff is all done, we're the medics. If
yeah.
you don't even think you're a healer, you don't think you're intuitive, you don't think you're a light worker. If you're looking at my eyeballs and Kevin's eyeballs, you are. You're a
Hmm.
person who's empathic. You're a person who cares. You care deeply. We're the ones that go out after all of this and we help people. right? So we've
Yeah.
got to stay healthy. We've got to be able to take care of ourselves. So when the time comes that we've got our list and we're out there in City Hall and we're out there helping people, we can do that work when it's
Yeah.
important, when it's called for.
And I would also say just one more thing too. It's we need to focus on the things that we are in control of, right? So all of this external noise
True.
is kind of out of our control. What we are in control of is visualizing and manifesting the future that we want and how we're going to make actions to get there. Um, but yeah, do your best to just focus in on ourselves, I think, and our and community around us, helping others. But I think it's a wonderful time for like that self empowerment. Um, you know, I teach Reiki. That's a great way to kind of lift our vibrations, kind of become clear, and align. Meditate, connect to Mother Earth, go out for a walk. Just do your best to stay out of the fear.
Yeah, read books that are helping you, right? Like
Yeah.
this is a good time to learn. Go to the library and learn something new. If you don't like the term light worker, use another term. There are artists, there are engineers. People
Hmm.
have different vibrations, right? I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else. I'm saying I have a certain vibration, and this is my vibration, right? I'm a teacher, I'm a spiritual person. This is just my vibration. And I think it's your vibration too. You're too
Yeah.
empathic. You care too deeply to be in the middle of the war, right? Just wait for our turn. It's coming. Just take really good care of yourselves and know other people signed up this incarnation just like we did. They signed up too, but they signed up to have a different role. They may
Mm,
be doing something different. And everybody does what you're drawn to do, right? That's just what I would
exactly.
say.
Exactly. And there, like I said earlier, there cannot be growth um,
No
without, bad
challenge.
things happening, without the negative stuff. We're getting to a point where the positives outshining the negative. But if everything was sunshine and lollipops every day, sure, it would be great. We'd feel really comfortable. What would we learn?
We wouldn't
We might as
grow.
well just stay in the heavenly realm because we come down here to learn to grow. So um, so as much as you can, I would say try to embrace it.
Or get
There's
or
no
get out
reason.
of it. Get out of it. Take
Yeah,
time
don't
to
allow it to consume you. The
yeah,
fear.
yeah. I hope this was helpful, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you,
Please
Lisa.
check out Kevin's channel, Kevin's Loving Vibrations. He does great work on his YouTube channel. Check out his website. He does Reiki classes. Check out my website, susanlynnmedium.com. I have a big online community, you guys. This thing with YouTube. The reason I have an online community, and Kevin has an online, but I think yours is through YouTube, right?
Yes.
Your online community? Okay.
Mhm.
So mine's off of YouTube, and that's one of the reasons why, because I'm just a little concerned, right? That our channels of communication could get interrupted, right?
Yeah,
So
I agree.
um,
There's a
that's
concern with that for sure.
yeah, yeah. But that's why we have websites. That's why I would suggest,
Yeah.
get on people's mailing lists. I mean, you don't have to pay money, right? There's lots of ways you can stay in contact with us and with each other. That's the key, right? We're in this together. We're supporting each other.
Mhm.
And this community has certainly gotten me through all of these years of
Yeah.
heartache and just challenge and growth, right? So really appreciate all of you. Anything else you
Absolutely.
want to add, Kevin?
Well, I will just say, I can't think of too many things that I'm thankful for Trump for, but I will say the one thing that I always say this, the one thing that I am grateful for is that it's brought our wonderful community of light workers here on YouTube that continues to grow and expand, more people finding us and more readers coming into it. So in that sense, we have that support to make it through this. Um, and it's really encouraging that, people are starting to get into this shift in awareness. Can I ask real quick? I know that you have your event coming up. Is that sold out, or are you still?
I feel like it's sold out. I mean, I kind of maxed out the hotel. So I was
Okay.
just talking to them today. They're like, "Yeah, we can't really fit too many more people in here." I was like, "Oh darn.
Because
I didn't know."
I was gonna say to everybody watching, we're talking about ways to raise our vibration, um, and if you have the means or is local,
Uh,
if you have rooms still,
yeah, I might
wonderful
have
time meeting in
one or two
person.
seats. Yeah, it's
Okay,
in
so
Santa
a
Fe, New
couple.
Mexico. Santa Fe, New Mexico next month, right? So we're all going to get together
It's gonna be
and
a beautiful time, I feel. It's gonna
and
be really magical.
it's gonna be amazing, yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Kevin. That's so sweet of you to mention that.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks everybody. So we're growing together. This is crappy. I'm right there with you, but we're gonna get through it together. I'm telling you, we're gonna get through it together because we don't have any choice. We're gonna continue showing up on YouTube. Hopefully, you guys will continue showing up and we'll support each other as we get through this. But better days are ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you,
All right.
Susan. It's always a pleasure.
Same here, Kevin. Thank you. All right, everybody, take good care. We'll see you next time.
Blessings, everyone.